Hello and welcome to another My Tunes podcast here at manxradio.com.
Marc, Tyley, the nation station, Manx Radio.
If you're not familiar with the work of my guest on My Tunes this week, you will be soon, because her work has been used on the 6 Christmas stamps for the Isle of Man. She is Julia Ashby Smyth, and she's with me now in the studio. Julia, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
And congratulations on having your work on our stamps this Christmas.
It is delightful. It was unexpected. It is lovely and very honoured.
And they will be the last set bearing the late Queen's head.
Yes, that was very serendipitous and unexpected as well. I think they had to send this issue back to King Charles to make sure that it was still okay for the Queen's head to be on them. So he said yes.
Oh,
that was lovely.
That's great. Now, when we were chatting earlier, you were explaining they weren't a commissioned set of paintings. They wanted to look at a lot of your work, and then the stamping people chose 6 from your work,
yes,
with an emphasis on snow, obviously.
Yes, they were all snowy scenes, Manx snowy scenes, and the memories and the feelings of those moments when I decided to paint that scene. And so it was very much a memory-driven set, which, with the Queen's head, it makes it even more special.
Yes, because those scenes would have been painted very much when she was alive.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen them yet, go and have a look. No matter what sort of stamps you're after, right across the whole range, the European ones, the American ones, all the Manx and British ones, you will see those glorious paintings are there. Now, here's a question. They're tiny. How big were the original works?
They're about postcard size.
Oh, right.
So they're not huge, because if you do anything huge, by the time it comes down to the stamp size, it looks like a blot.
I was going to say, because it's almost like the old art of painting a miniature. You've got to, because the detail, I'm looking at the stamps, you can see everything on them quite clearly. But as you say, if they were huge canvases, it wouldn't work.
No, luckily, it was just the way it worked, and they have come down a treat. And I love miniatures, so it's even nicer to see them that small.
What was the original medium that you used to paint them?
Watercolour.
Are they watercolours?
So they're all watercolour illustrations.
Is that a preferred medium for you?
One of them, yes. Pencils, ink, a mixture of whatever is to hand sometimes. But for painting, watercolour.
We're going to talk about your development as an artist, certainly tomorrow, and maybe touch on it later on. But I want to go back to you growing up, because you told me that you grew up in England, but when you got here, you felt like you'd come home.
Yes. The first time we got off the boat and I was 8 years old, I knew I was home. That was it. And then me and my dad just hounded my mother until she relented, and we moved here when I was 11.
Now, at that stage, your uncle was living here.
Yes.
Is he Manx?
Nope. He was Brummie. But no, as soon as I got here, I just knew this was it. This was home.
And that stayed with you?
Yes. And even now, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but the Isle of Man. It's beautiful. Even on a day like today, which is wild. And
on the day of recording, it almost looked dark outside at 11 o'clock. It certainly did. Well, we'll talk a lot more about the island as well. But let's take your first piece of music for this week. What are we going to have?
We're having The Power of Love, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. You just need to turn it up, stop what you're doing. It just tells a story. It's just theatrical and epic. It's the only word. And the first time I heard it, that was, what is this? I need to listen to this more. And I put it on repeat and listened to it in the studio, and arms outstretched, singing away like a mad person, but that's nothing new.
I'll protect you from the hooded claw, keep the vampires from your door. I feels like fire. I'm so in love with you. Dreams are like angels, they keep bad at bay, bad at bay. Love is the light, scaring darkness away. Yeah. I'm so in love with you, purge the soul. Make love your goal. The power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire, purge the soul. Make love your protect you from the hooded claw. Keep the vampires from your door. When the chips are down, I'll be around with my undying, death-defying love for you. Envy will hurt itself. Let yourself be beautiful, sparkling love flowers and pearls and pretty girls. Love is like an energy rushing inside of me. The power of love, a force from above, leading my soul. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire, burns the soul. Make love your goal. This time we go sublime, lovers entwined, divine, divine. Love is danger, love is pleasure, love is pure, the only treasure. I'm so in love with you, hurts the soul. Make love your the power of love, a force from above, cleaning my soul. The power of love, a force from above, a skyscraping dove. Flame on burn desire, love with tongues of fire, burns the soul. Make love your I'll protect you from the hooded claw. Keep the vampires from your door.
Julia Ashby Smyth is my MyTunes guest this week, who knew the moment her feet touched Manx soil, this was where she was supposed to be. And you've never doubted it, Julia?
Never. That was it. Even when I went to college in the glorious Stoke-on-Trent, and I did work away for about 9 months, it was get me back to the Isle of Man. I need the glens, and I need the sea, and I need the wind and the rain, and
it's all here.
Yeah.
It is all here. So we need to talk about your training as an artist. How did it all start? Were you drawing as a little girl?
I was always drawing. Always. Only child. So here's a piece of paper and a pen. Off you go. And yeah, happy as Larry. That's happy drawing all the time. My dad was a printer. Child labour. Off you go. So I was drawing for him at the age of 13 for print.
And then following on from there, through school, through senior school?
Yes. Yep. A-levels. And then went to college. Didn't do a foundation course. Went straight to college for a BA in Stoke. As far away from the sea as you can get. Did 3 years and was offered a job at Royal Dalton as an illustrative designer from a degree show. And I worked there for 9 months and then was offered a job managing a graphic design studio back on the Isle of Man. Okay, that's it. Sell my house. Off you go.
And you were straight back.
Yeah, couldn't get me back quick enough.
Now, tell us about where you are at the moment. Laxey.
I run the Hodgson Loom Gallery at Laxey Woolen Mills, which is a space for Manx artists. And there are so many fabulous Manx artists that they need space to be able to show. So I run that. And then I am also a full-time freelance artist, book illustration, Finodry gin labels. Of course, I have to taste a bit of that just to get the flavour and the essence. Quite a few book designs going on at the moment, children's book illustrations. All sorts of little commissions as well. Spice label designs as well. Loads of things.
I'm going to say that Finodry gin, a lot of its success, I know it tastes great, but it looks great. It looks fabulous. And all the various seasonal variations of the gin, you're responsible for giving them their identity.
Thank you very much. Yes, we sit down and brainstorm, but each label has a story within it. So it's not just, there's so many elements within each label to tell a story. Eventually we'll have a book or something to tell all the little minutiae of all the labels.
You've very kindly shown me your calendar for next year, which is glorious, and thank you for doing another one. Absolutely superb. But like so much of your work, it is rooted in Manx folklore and tales of this island. Did you get into that pretty much straight away when you arrived as a youngster?
I think being an only child, living out in Norrisdale, wandering and rootling around in the undergrowth, you can't help but absorb it and just be wowed by everything that is in the glens and in the ground. And I lived right opposite a standing stone as well, so it just was going to happen. Wherever I've lived on the Isle of Man, there's been a standing stone within 100 foot of me.
Interesting. How much is written about Manx folklore that people can go and explore themselves?
There's loads. There's so many books, and then you can go online to the Manx Scrapbook and the Manx Notebook, and you can find just one line that will be Ned Kelly saw the white woman at the top of the rest and be thankful. And that's all. That's it. But that one line can set you off on such a journey and you can go make a whole story from that. And I think folklore can evolve and doesn't have to be set in the past. Folklore evolves, and it's only folklore because it's tales that have been retold and retold and retold, and so new tales can become folklore.
Definitely. You've only got to sit for a moment quietly in one of those glens you mentioned earlier. Be still, be quiet, and just soak it up.
Yes.
It's all there. It is all there. We are moving from a tranquil, almost paradise little bit of a discussion to something rather different for your second choice of music.
Yes, well, sometimes you just want to headbang the bejesus out of something. And I do that a lot in my studio. I just sometimes just need to cleanse my being and just go mental. If anybody ever looks in my studio, sometimes they would be probably a little bit afraid. But yeah, Enter Sandman, Metallica, from the start to the finish, is just headbanging wild.
I love a bit of serendipity, happenstance, call it what you will. Today is my guest, Julia Ashby Smyth's birthday. So before we do anything, happy birthday.
Got on my head.
Thank you. I hope you have a fantastic day. Happy birthday. We talked a little bit about Laxi in the gallery there. Are there people queuing up to get in? You mentioned there's a wealth of talent here.
Yes, we have a waiting list for people to exhibit. We do some individual shows, some group shows, some competitions, some open shows. And so we try and make it available for everybody to show. Have one spot left last year if anybody's interested. But basically, yeah, we've got people queuing up.
How important is it to have that sort of space? We don't have a lot of spaces across the island, do we?
No, there's not. The spaces that we have are wonderful, but there's so many artists here. Manannan is the patron of and the guardian of artists and bards and musicians and poets and dance, and so I think that shows with the amount of artists that we have here. The talent is so deep in so many different genres that, yeah, we need the spaces to be able to show. So I will try and help as many people as I can by showing their work, whether they be the first time or whether they're seasoned professionals.
In developing your own work, and I'm going to go back to the slightly mythical folklore sort of area. Who were you inspired by going back to as a young developing artist?
Arthur Rackham, all those fabulous beasties. And there's the Graham sisters, Graham Johnston sisters. I had a book as a child with their illustrations in, but it was Dulac and Detmold and those turn of the century illustrators, and then Hieronymus Bosch, who I adore.
Ah, okay. You see, I'm going to go back an era or two to my mum growing up when she was a little girl. All of her friends, she said, she's sadly no longer with us, believed in fairies. They didn't just draw them, they believed in fairies. Do enough people still believe in fairies?
I think they do.
Do they?
Or they believe in an entity of some variety. Whether they gave that name fairy, but they maybe are aware of other things in the peripheries of their vision.
Today's choice of music is somewhat different to Metallica, but I'm going to leave it to Julia to talk me through it.
When I was a child, I was given a piano, which was delightful. I had a quarter of an hour lesson every Monday, most of which was spent by the teacher putting her cat on the piano, telling me how musical her cat was. But I taught myself this piece of music, and every day I'd come home from school and I would attempt to play this piece of music. I'm never any good at it, really, but I just enjoyed it, and every time I hear it, it just calms, just place of utter peace. And so today's piece of music is the Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven.
My guest on My Tunes this week is the curator of the Hodgson Loom Gallery and a fine artist in her own right, and also responsible for the beautiful Christmas stamps here in the Isle of Man. She is Julia Ashby Smyth. And we've talked fairly well about the art that's going on around you, the beautiful work you're curating. But I want to go back to the essence of the Manx spiritual world. How much of a blend is it, Julia, from Celtic and Viking, and does it all come from various parts?
I think it depends where you're based, for a start, where you live. So those essences are leaching into you all the time. And there are so many crossovers, just the names change. But the essence of the being is the same, and it weaves itself into you. When I'm drawing, if I'm drawing a character, sometimes I have no idea what I'm going to draw, and it tells me its story as I'm drawing it. Now, sometimes that will be based in history or mythology, or sometimes it has its own, completely own history and its own place. But there are so many crossovers, and even farther afield. Norwegian, African, South American, Polynesian, there would be a similar story with a different name.
And when you get a commission to do something, you're obviously going to have to work closely with the person who's commissioned, or do you just get off and do it?
The best ones, that sounds really bad, are when they just leave me to crack on. They give me the essence of what they want, the outline, and then just crack on. I will do them a visual, but then if it has historical research, I will do that. But if not, and they just let me see what happens, that's even better.
And they trust you, and they're pleased.
Hopefully most of the time.
Good. I think when you look at certain books, illustrated books, the relationship between the illustrator and the author is so important. And that sometimes you can look at a book and you know it instantly from the illustrations because they are so tightly bound. And when you see an edition, for instance, I remember when I first got my original 7 Chronicles of Narnia, the drawings that were there, they were my Lucy, my Peter, my witch. And then I saw another version with different drawings. It didn't resonate because I'd grown up with that image and that text. And your works, I'm going to Finodry again. I mean, heaven forbid they ever don't use you, because it wouldn't be Finodry without you.
Oh, that's very kind.
But it wouldn't be the same gin. It would taste different, even though because it looked different.
Well, because the gin is Manx, you've got to weave it into it. They're using Manx water and they're using Manx botanicals, and it's dreamt up and created in Ramsey, so you've got to weave it in. It would be wrong not to somehow.
Well, you mentioned the people commissioning you and saying, Julia, get on with it, we'll love it, it'll be fine. But when you're working with a book, is that slightly different?
Yes, we brainstorm. That's the best way. You sit down and you get an essence of what the author has in mind, and I'll sketch as they're talking, and hopefully it will join up, and what's in their mind is in my mind as well.
There will be an extra slice, as they say on Bake Off, of Julia and me having a natter, and Julia will be choosing a Christmas tune and a bit more as well on the podcast, which will be released to the waiting world a little later on today. But for now, let's have your final choice of music. And we're going to Scandinavia.
Yes, we're going to Norway.
Okay.
I adore this band. I've seen them live a number of times, and it just speaks to my very soul. There's something about their music which you know in your memory. It's like in vitro. It's rooted so far back that it's part of you. And the band is Vardruna, and this is Helvegen.
Thank you for a great week on My Tunes, Julia. And we'll now do that little bit extra for the podcast. Is that all right?
Okie dokie.
Han skal synge mørk i
Dear fear, dear frender, deir sjálfur it sama, en orðstýr deir aldrei, heimur sér góðan getur. Deir fear, deir frender, deir sjálfur it sama, ég veit einar aldur deyr, dómur dauðan fær.
That was a bit of Scandinavian. Well, I don't know what I'd class it as. Julia, tell me, describe that for me. I mean, it's rock.
It's hard to categorise.
Isn't it?
Because it is
It
really
is, it's really tough.
difficult. I think they call it indie folk, but that just sounds a bit...
No, it's much stronger. It's tougher and stronger as well.
It's music for the soul.
And we loved it. And tell me again what it was?
It was Vardruna Helvegen.
Thank you. This is your extra slice. You see, you've come for the podcast. You get value. You get top value with me and Julia. What are you going to be up to in the next year, in the 2023? What's it got in store?
Lots of children's book illustrations. I think I've got about 4 to do. More gin.
Never have enough gin.
Oh no, no! It seems to evaporate in my studio.
I know.
Funny. Don't know how that happens. I would love to do a book, and I keep threatening. And if I get chance, maybe I will start compiling that. She says I do that every year. So, but I've got loads of illustrations.
Now the calendar is out. Your seasonal calendar is out. How can people get hold of it?
It is available in the Tide in Ramsey, and in Presence of Man at Laxey. From me, via my Facebook page.
Perfect. And it is beautiful. It is lovely. Thank you. Well, you're here for a Christmas tune now, and we've got all sorts to choose from. I think Christmas tunes sometimes are instantly forgettable, and some live with you forever. And I'm delighted that you've chosen one of the latter.
I heard this. I can't remember when I heard it, but it's Eartha Kitt and it's Santa Baby, and she's just so naughty. And I remember seeing an interview with her as a teenager, and it's just the way she just sings it. It's just brilliant. Makes me smile every time.
And she's in total control of the situation, isn't she?
As ever she was.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's been a lovely week. Julia, thank you. Happy Christmas.
Very Merry Christmas to you.
And here's to a great 2023.
Absolutely.
Boom, 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 boom.
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, a 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas that I haven't kissed. Next year I could be just as good if you check off my Christmas list. Santa baby, I want a yacht, and really that's not a lot. Been an angel all year, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa honey, one little thing I really need, the deed platinum mine, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie, and fill my stocking with a duplex and checks. Sign your X on the line, Santa cutie, and hurry down the chimney tonight. Come and trim my Christmas tree with some decorations bought at Tiffany. I really do believe in you. Let's see if you believe in me.
Boom, 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 boom.
Santa baby forgot to mention one little thing, a ring. I don't mean on the phone, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Hurry down the chimney tonight. Hurry. Tonight.
My thanks to Julia Ashby Smyth for a wonderful My Tunes podcast. And keep coming back here to manxradio.com as there are more podcasts coming up every single day.